Have you ever paused and given thought to times that you may have been going through life and it seems as if you are moving at a snail's pace and you feel every fragment of time that is going by and it's as if it weighs 10,000 pounds and it's just weighing you down. It's heavy, it's hard, it's long, and you can't even see the finish line. You don't know where this goes. How did you wind up where you're at, and how are you going to get out of this and move on to something better? If you're like me, then the answer, at least at some point, is probably yes. So that's what I'd like to get into today. Hello, and a warm greeting to you all. It's really good to be back with you today. As I touched on in the introduction, sometimes life can be heavy. Imagine that. We all have challenges that we have to move through. And what choice do we really have, right? We come up against things in our life that require our attention, and we've got to move through it and get to the other side of it. That's the goal. Why is it that when we're moving through times in our life like this, that it can often feel like it's just going very slowly? And it can often feel like it's just heavy. And it's slowing down. We're feeling the weight. It's like, you've heard the term, the world of the weight. The world of the weight. The weight of the world is on my shoulders. And so it's just weighing us down. We're feeling it, trying to just drag ourselves through this challenge, trying to get on the other side of it so that we can hopefully get relief and find a little rest, right? That's the goal. Get through it. If I can just get on the other side of this, then I can finally get some rest and relax and recoup and then start over again. And I understand that. I do. As I think back on times in my own life, and even all the way up to recently, just like all of you, it just seems like struggles are ongoing. There's seasons. I've often referred to just life in general as a washing machine, and it's easy to get stuck in the washing machine of life, and just you're like in this agitation cycle, ja-jing, 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 and it's exhausting, and you just feel beat up, and you don't know how to get out of it, and then the agitation cycle turns to the spin cycle, and then it even gets more crazy. Another bit of imagery that I've often thought of is like a roller coaster, and it's just this up and down, and it's just and then just dropping into oblivion, it feels like, and it's just chaos in a way. And it often feels out of control, and then we're trying to get back that control and manage it all, and it's messy and difficult and challenging. And I'll just tell you, I have spent literally years upon years of my life, and I know I am not alone at all, in trying to better understand this process, looking at the way that I've gone through things, right? Looking back and studying it and going, why did I do that in the way that I did? Why did I react the way that I did, which then led to A, which led to B, which led to chaos? What could I have done better? What is it about me that led me to take those steps that I did that led to the actions that it did? I know this, you may be thinking, gosh, Brian, that's a lot. Yeah, I realize I'm a lot, and there's a lot that goes on up here. I'm definitely quirky, no doubt about it. I think we all are in our own way. But yes, I really have done a lot of introspective work, I guess you would say, in looking back at myself and in a sense, I don't know if dissecting is the right word, but just taking a hard look at exactly what I just talked about. And what can I do in order to have a smoother progress, I guess, smoother progress the next go around? What changes can I make in my life so that I react in a more godly way instead of a more fleshly or carnal way next time when I go through these things? And so yes, it's been years that I have been going through this process of trying to make improvements, of dying to things in my life that really need to be gone for sure, and to surrender myself or submit my life to the Lord in such a way that allows Him to fill me up with His light and His life, which then leads to me reacting and responding in ways that are in line with His character instead of my own. And that has been a very messy process for me. It's often felt slow. And progress throughout my life has often felt slow. But as I sit here today and I think back to all of that work and just moving through that, I really rejoice. It's nice to be at a place where I can begin to look back and then compare to where I'm sitting now, which, believe me, I still have an immense amount of progress to make and so much work to undergo. But it's nice to be able to look back and say, thank you, Lord. I'm so thankful that I have made real progress in my life. I was visiting with some friends just last night at prayer, and we were doing some reminiscing, which was really nice. And I happened to mention how at one point in my life, I was going through a time where I just realized deep inside that, Lord, I just sense that I don't love you like I should. And that's really all that I knew. I was doing lots of stuff in the church and in youth pastoring and singing and teaching and all of that, and was still just feeling like something's missing. Kind of reminds me of the story in the Gospel of Luke about Martha and Mary, I think in chapter 10 of Luke. And Jesus says to Martha, 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 you are distracted, I think is what it says, about many, many things. But Mary has chosen what is necessary. She has done the one thing that is necessary. She has chosen what is good, what is that good portion. And really, what the Lord is drawing us to, what he's trying to teach us, and what he wound up teaching me through that time of asking that question or making that statement, Lord, I just don't feel like I love you like I should, like there's something missing there. This is the same thing that he was trying to teach Martha, is that he is looking for that affection with us. He is looking for us to enter into that rest with him. That rest where while we are making progress, while we are going through these challenges in life, these difficult things that seem to weigh us down, and it feels so heavy and it's so slow, and it's like we're dragging ourselves through what we're trying to get to, if that makes sense. There's a place that we're trying to get to, and there's this gap it's kind of like this desert that we're just pulling ourselves through in order to get to the end of this so that we can rest. And Jesus is trying to teach us, no, come to me, all you who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. I will give you my rest. Come and enter into my rest. And then what's interesting, and getting to the end of our time here, but what is interesting is that when we yield to him in that way, and this has been one of the greatest lessons of my life, and he's deepened this for me very recently, as he tends to do. I've learned in stages. You get to one depth, and then he takes me to a different depth in that very teaching at some other points. And that's just how he does things, at least with me. And it seems like with many others as well. But he's taught me that if I will just cease from trying to do all of this completely out of my own strength, and I will learn how to rest in him, how to trust in him, really trust him, to practice and to learn this, and then to let go, then I find myself at some point having been taken through that desert and on the other side, and kind of going, well, would you look at that? Somehow I just wound up where I needed to be, and I'm not even exhausted. Even though it may have been difficult as I was just doing the things while I was resting in him, I'm still doing work and everything else. But in the beginning of that, I made every effort to enter into his rest. And so then as I began to do other work in the midst of resting in him, I just wound up where I needed to be. And it was almost kind of surprising in a way. And you look up and go, wow, thank you, Lord. Resting in you really works. It really is where life needs to happen. It's how life needs to happen. And so I'm going to continue on in this subject. There's so much to this in varying degrees, hopefully, unless the Lord winds up steering things in a different direction. But there's a lot more that I'd really like to touch on in this area. Again, it was really good to be with you. I hope you enjoyed this today as much as I've enjoyed sharing it with you. This is always a blessing for me. And so I love you all. May you feel the love of the Lord, and may he keep you as you move through these things in your life as well. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.